Can you give us some insight on who the Pittsburgh Penguins were this season and what you learned about them?
Well, they were back to that team that was won championships in 16 and 17.
Okay, this is Eric Engels from Sportsnet. We're here with Mark Recchi, a three-time Stanley Cup winner with three different teams, a veteran of 22 NHL seasons, a Hockey Hall of Famer, and of course, an assistant coach for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Mark, I think everybody would like to know, how are you and your family doing right now?
Yeah, everybody's doing good. We're obviously it's very crazy and sad times right now, and we're just thoughts are with everybody, and hopefully we can start creating some positive energy with everything in the world right now, and it's very sad times, but we're hanging in there, and we hope to get through all this sooner than later.
Yeah, I think I can easily agree with that sentiment, Mark. Getting to the hockey side of things, the reason why we're talking, the NHL's announced a return to play scenario here. We don't know, if it'll happen. We don't know when it'll happen or where it will happen. But we do know that if it does come back, there is a way there. What were your reactions to the 2014 tournament proposal, the play-in proposal that would have the Pittsburgh Penguins, your team, up against the Montreal Canadiens for a play into the playoffs?
Well, yeah, we going into this and what the league was going through and what was going to have to happen, we knew that there was going to be some teams that were going to be upset about it, some teams not. But the bottom line is you got to take it the right way, and we put ourselves in that position, and we've got to play a play-in now against a real tough team that's very well coached. So it's going to be, we're going to have to be prepared and ready.
Mark, how do you wrap your head around this whole thing? We're talking about a return to play, a season resumption, but it's happening 4 to 5 months potentially down the line of where you left off. The idea that you're carrying any kind of momentum or continuing something seems a little far-fetched, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's definitely that's out the window. It's no question. It's going to have to be. I think mentally, the team that's going to be mentally ready and mentally sharp and the strongest through this is going to have a real good chance. And obviously, when you start building, you get some games in, you start building some momentum there. That's definitely going to help. And if you can, if guys have stayed fit and guys have stayed ready as much as they can through all this, that it's just going to give some sort of an advantage. At least we're going to have a good length of time. I know that they're talking about opening up having the small groups happening here pretty quick, and that'll help. But it'll be a good build up for the players to go before they we hopefully get a training camp at some point in July.
Let's talk about your team, because I was around them for about 24 hours visiting Pittsburgh last time Montreal was there. I think it was about February, and there was something about what I saw there in terms of the way you guys practice, the way you prepare, the mentality that is there. And I think we saw it as a lot of key players were injured and you continue to win games, and speaking to some of your players and the expectation level that they were going to win, no matter who they played and no matter who was dressed, I thought was particularly fascinating. Can you give us some insight on who the Pittsburgh Penguins were this season and what you learned about them?
Well, they were back to that team that was won championships in 16 and 17, and it's like next guy up, who injuries. Every team goes through injuries, and this we were like no other team. A lot of the other teams where you just have unfortunately we had guys like Malcolm, Crosby, Gensel. We had guys who were big names who were out for long extended periods of time, and we just found a way. The guys really bought into the team concept and playing the right way and playing fast and playing the type of game that we need to play as a team. I think Jim Rutherford did a terrific job of getting more speed back in our lineup, which was important. The way we need to play and the way we need to practice, and and we've talked about practice before. I mean, Sydney leads the way in practice, and we have leaders that the tempo is there, and it's a great thing for our team where we just take that into the games, and I think that's what happened through the course of the year.
When you found out that it would be a play-in against the Canadiens, if it happens, obviously everything's conditional on the if and when and where, but if it happens, when did you guys start focusing specifically on the Canadiens, and how are you approaching that over the next few weeks?
Yeah, we're actually starting this week. We're starting to prepare. We originally thought it was going to be a different scenario, so we started working on some other things, but we've got plenty of time, to work on it. Well, obviously, Gonchar and I are in charge. We'll look at their penalty kill, and and then Jacques Martin, and we'll look at their power play. So we'll have that down. Whether hopefully we can find some things that help our guys and do that. But we will start preparing, I would imagine, this week, and just to give us, like I said, just to, once the training camp start, things happen quick. So we'd like to be prepared as possible and see where it goes from there.
How do you view their group? You faced them 3 times this year. At one point they came into Pittsburgh early in the season, had a strong game that Mario Lemieux classified as a bit of a boring style, which is, kind of traditional with the Canadiens in terms of wanting to shut you down. I don't think there's much variance in the league in terms of how teams play right now. I think everybody's almost on the same formula, and it's all a question of who executes it. But what is your impression on this team and what you saw from them?
Well, to me, they're a pain in the butt to play against because, just by obviously being a coach and watching, they skate well. They're a fast team. They're very well coached. They're very disciplined in how they play. And when you have that, you're always a tough opponent. And, obviously they got Carey Price, who's, been one of the top rated, one of the top goalies in the world for a long stretch here. You have that factor, but, they have some key veteran guys. I mean, Shea Weber's still a terrific defenseman and a good leader. You can tell how good a leader he is, and how that group there has kind of bought in. And they're a tough team to play against, and that's our players know it. And I think mentally they're going to have to be ready for that, and we're going to have to play a really structured, smart game as well.
Jake Gensel obviously had shoulder surgery at the end of December. It was slated that he probably wouldn't be back before June. Now all of a sudden, with this new scenario, you could have him back in your lineup when you start back up again. What would it mean to have him alongside Crosby, Malkin, Hornquist, who missed some time this year, and Jason Zucker, who came in at the trade deadline, all those horses kind of in your lineup at one time?
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, he's progressed. He's progressing well. It looks like he's progressing to the point where he would be available for us, and that's terrific because he's a competitive player, and is another one that's hockey IQ is off the charts, and his compete levels off the charts, and he's going to be an important piece for us, and he has been for a few years now, and he's a great kid and a great competitor. So it's going to be a big, it sure adds the depth. I mean, when we added Zucker, and he was a great addition, played terrific for us. Now it just gives us those options where we can play guys, and with different lines, it just make it more of a balanced lineup and a tougher lineup to play against.
Lastly here, you talked about the winning mentality, coming back to the championship type teams you saw in 16, 17, and what you saw this year, and making that comparison. How critical was it for Evgeny Malkin to have the kind of bounce back that he had this year? And what have you seen from him off the ice in terms of how he's approached things that lend you to believe that this could be a year for you guys to win the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, he's been terrific. I mean, he was the first one to say that his year wasn't what it was, and he just wanted to prove to people and prove to himself as much as well that he could still be an effective player in this league and one of the top guys in this league. And I know he trained very hard last summer. He did some more things to get stronger in his legs, and it showed. And he's he's such a competitive guy as well, and he wants to win. And his leadership, he really took a big step leadership wise, and he's always been a good leader and a good guy, but he took another step, and he, even during this time right now, he's been very engaged in our meetings, and it's been awesome to see. Our guys see, they know their age is, they're getting a little bit older now, and they know it, and they want to keep winning championships, and I give them a lot of credit because you wouldn't have, it's I think it's something where they really take pride in, and they really want to keep on winning.
Well, Mark, I think I speak for both of us when I say I hope to see these players back in action sooner rather than later. There's an exciting time potentially ahead and a much welcome distraction, I'm sure. For Mark Recchi at home, Pittsburgh Penguins assistant coach, I'm Eric Engels with Sportsnet. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.